But now, let's get an update from the sports desk with well-known Nine journalist Tony Jones.
Welcome back to Sportsbet News. It is a massive day at the Journo Tribunal. Our man on the spot is Hammy Goodman. What's the latest at AFL headquarters?
Thanks, Tony. A busy day down here as three of the AFL media's biggest names face the music.
That, of course, is a spoof, turning the AFL Players Tribunal on some of the stars of the AFL media. And it's a successful bit of viral marketing for the gambling firm Sportsbet, which has now clocked up more than 1.3 million views across YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. But if the tribunal is fake, the journalists featured are real, like this man.
Not for the first time, Damien Barrett fronted up to the charge of careless use of superlatives while breaking news, resulting in severe clickbaiting.
Barrett is a renowned newsbreaker on Nine, on radio and for the AFL's website. And like Jones, he was happy to play along in the name of gambling.
What did go on in there will send shockwaves through the entire industry and it will shake its foundations to its core.
And then there's Sam McClure, another from the Nine stable who's a sports writer for The Age newspaper.
Sam McClure unsuccessfully contested the embarrassing charge of operating a burner account on Twitter. This saw the panel hand down their harshest punishment of the evening, a cameo in a corporate bookmaker's social content.
Punishment indeed, though apparently McClure, like the other Nine journos, signed up willingly. Or just a bit of fun, right? That's what Damien Barrett told his podcast co-host last week.
Now, what do you say to the critics who say you're critical of...
I would have said no to it probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but in the end, it's pretty harmless, isn't it?
Harmless? Well, the harms of problem gambling and the whole betting companies have on the sport, athletes and fans, have been well documented, including by one Sam McClure.
The question is, how reliant is the AFL on wagering money? And the answer is, a lot.
And where does a lot of that money come from?
Now, the AFL, as you might know, have an official wagering partner each year, and in the current deal, it's Sportsbet. They pay the AFL around $8 million a year.
Yes, the very same betting company McClure is now promoting on social media. Now, $8 million doesn't sound like a lot of money for a competition worth billions. But as McClure explained in his front page Age story only 3 months ago, gambling ads help fund those lucrative broadcast deals with partners like Nine's 3AW. While on-ground advertising and product fees from all betting agencies funnel as much as $40 million extra into the sport's coffers each year. McClure's special report inspired an Age editorial which called for immediate action.
It's time for the AFL to be transparent about exactly how much revenue comes from gambling. And it needs to wean itself off its dependence, if not entirely, then at least to some extent.
The Age is hardly alone in worrying about the role of gambling in the AFL. Others in the media have spoken out, like Tony Jones.
The governments need to get on board. They need to regulate the advertising. Drugs is an epidemic, alcohol is an epidemic, but gambling is right up there. And something needs to be done because it's ruining lives at the moment.
Well
Huge
said.
issue, yeah.
Well said, Tony.
Well said on the Today Show back in 2019. So imagine our surprise to see Jones fronting marketing for the same gambling companies he sought to nobble. The hypocrisy is stunning, but it's the conflict that's even more damning. We ask, not for the first time this year, why on earth would Nine let its talent front ads for commercial partners? Remember those happy birthday messages for Cadbury in February?
From a child of the 80s, a 90s kid.
And happy 100 years, Cadbury.
3 Nine chocoholics pushing the dark stuff in ad breaks. Now 3 respected footy journalists yucking it up for Sportsbet in branded social media content. Stephen Mayne, a journalist and anti-gambling campaigner, calls it an ethical fail.
Nine should not have allowed their journalists to become commercially entangled with a large and controversial advertiser like Sportsbet. And the journalists themselves should simply have said no. You wouldn't see business journalists appearing in Big Four bank ads. So how on earth can this situation be tolerated?
Good question. We asked Sportsbet if it paid Nine, Jones, McClure and Barrett. They ignored our questions. We asked the Sportsbet stars themselves and also got no response. But on behalf of The Age, executive editor Tori Maguire called McClure's appearance
a bit of a mix-up. Sam thought he had approval to do the ad. It was not part of a commercial arrangement between The Age and Sportsbet, and it's not something we'd normally allow Age journalists to participate in.
Really? Just a bit of a mix-up? Is there no shame or concern? Clearly, Nine is happy for some of its journalists to push products, and that breezy culture runs the risk of undermining the important work of its other reporters, like the 60 Minutes investigation we showed you earlier.